25th Hour Radio Show.
Pastor Timberlake, I want to first start off by thanking you for being my guest on the show today. You know, it's always a pleasure speaking to someone who believes so much in their Christian faith that they spend their life, you know, sharing the good news. It's truly an honor speaking with you today, sir.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very grateful, and I look forward to sharing this message with you and your listeners.
For those listening right now who haven't heard about you, you know, as much as maybe others have, what's your backstory, man? How did you find yourself making a career out of the ministry?
Well, my parents started off in ministry, and I had a worldwide ministry. Actually, it was on national television every single day. And when I was 13, my father got terminally ill with throat cancer and got the news that he had about 3 weeks to live. So from there, as a 13-year-old boy, you know, that kind of rocks your world. You know, your hero is sick, and they get this very, very dire news. And I really walked away from God. My mindset and my idea at that time, being a 13-year-old boy, not really knowing God, not really knowing his promises, was if this is the way God treats his man, then I want no parts of this guy. Mm-hmm. And so, although my father was very, very sick, they did an operation on him that lasted about 8 hours. They took a third of his tongue, so he could no longer eat. He could no longer drink anything through his mouth, and he was fed through a G-tube. But he had remarkable faith through it all. He had a remarkable tenacity, a remarkable will to just live. And he did so. And because of his faith, it strengthened my faith. And so, unfortunately, he ended up going home to be with the Lord in 2002, the day after my 18th birthday. But on my birthday, he set me down for 5 hours, and he laid hands on me, man, and he told me all the remarkable great things that I would do. And from that moment forward, I kind of felt the burden of and the weight of God's call and that mantle that was on my life. And so fast forward probably about another 9 months, God actually called me into ministry. And from there, I went off to Bible college and came back home in the big city of Creedmoor, North Carolina, and started serving alongside my mom as co-pastor.
You kind of already answered my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Was it tough on you growing up being the quote unquote preacher's kid? And the only reason I ask you this is I'm sure there are, you know, thousands of teenagers out there who are wanting to know about God, but it's just not the cool thing to do. But, it really is the cool thing to do. But do you have any advice for young adults like this from your own experience?
Absolutely. It's always different. I can't necessarily say it's tough. You are in a fishbowl, and you do have a lot of people watching you. But I would just say be who God has created you to be, and be the best you that you can possibly be, and develop that relationship with Jesus for yourself. You know, although my parents would talk about Jesus, although they would teach me Jesus, I didn't have that understanding and knowing of who he was until I met him for myself. And it's just like this. We can learn about Abraham Lincoln all day long, but we won't know Abraham Lincoln until we meet him or had the opportunity to meet him face to face. And it's the same thing with Jesus. We can hear about him, but we won't honestly know him until we have an encounter with him and get a chance to spend some real authentic time with him. So not only he can teach us who he is to us, but who we are through his lens and through his perspective. And that's important for us as individuals.
So tell us a little bit about the church you pastor at. I know it's in a small rural town, but you and the members have been able to really do some pretty big things with it, right?
Yeah, we've been blessed to make an impact not only in our community, but in North Carolina. And so my parents were the pioneers and really the catalyst for that, with a lot of hits and misses. But God has done some incredible things through the ministry. And so we're in a very rural town called Creedmoor. The population of the town is very small. And at one point, the membership of the church was larger than the population of the city. Oh, wow. So we had people to literally come from Virginia, various parts of the East Coast to attend service on a weekly basis. Even now, we have people that drive as far as 2 hours twice a week for service. So I truly believe if you have something that God has his hand on, people will come and be a part of it. And that's been the case for us. And through our church, we've been able to open up a school that services kids from K through 12. We also have a daycare. We also have a senior citizens home that provides affordable living for senior citizens on a first-come, first-served basis. We have a food bank where we provide food for families and individuals that need assistance with food. And so we're just trying to do our best, man, to impact this community and be the reflection of Jesus Christ for these people in the surrounding areas.
So let's talk about the main reason why you're here with me today. You know, you just released your first book last month titled Abandoned. Was authoring a book something you've been wanting to do for a long time, or had the idea just recently crept up on you?
No, the idea kind of came to me through a tough situation. I was in New York ministry, and I just felt the Holy Spirit nudge me and kind of tell me, you need to get back home. This is 2 years ago. And I was supposed to speak on a Sunday, and I had to tell the person that I was with, I'm not going to be able to do it. I have to get back home. And so I ended up going back home, and I walked through my mom's door to her house. And as soon as I did, a propane tank exploded and threw fire to the top of the house. And her home, which is my family home, ended up burning to the ground within 3 minutes. And the reason I believe I was instructed to go back was to be there and help my family get out. My two nieces were asleep on the second level of the home. My younger brother was there asleep. And the story could have ended a lot differently if I had not been there. Mm-hmm. And so the concept of the book came as we're walking away from this burning house that has so many memories, so many good things that are just kind of crumbling to the ground. God asked me one simple question: what else do you have in your life, both good and bad, that you should abandon and leave behind so that you can experience my greatest? And from there, I just started jotting down some notes and started jotting down some things that I thought would serve me better to just leave behind. And from there, I got the outline of the book. From the outline, I started putting together kind of the skeleton of the book. Because to be honest with you, all of us have things in our life, both good and bad, that we should leave behind in order to experience God's greatest life that he has destined and planned for us. So that's kind of where the idea and the concept of the book came from. Came out of a bad situation, but God turned something good out of it.
You know, I'm going to take a couple sentences straight from the press release I got. Now, bear with me because this is kind of long.
Sure.
In Abandon, Timberlake shows you how to exchange your plans for God's purpose. Obedience to God is not a burden, as many thought. Instead, obedience is your key to experiencing the life of heaven right now. And I think that's the misconception a lot of people have, that giving your life to Christ will end up being a burden more than a blessing. And that's just not the case, right? And this is just one of the topics that you cover in the book.
Absolutely. And so for us, we either have two misconceptions in turning our life over to Christ. We think, number one, once we turn our life over to Christ, we won't have any more struggles. We won't go through any more issues. Or number two, our life is confined by a tightrope of laws that we have to abide by in order to receive God's love. And both of those are completely false. And so we spend a lot of our time when we're not saved, or when we have not established that relationship with Jesus, running from him. And then when we get saved, we spend a lot of our time running for God. And both of those are equally as bad. And all God is asking us to do is run to him and receive his peace and his grace that he has for our life.
You know, I know Abandoned's only been on the shelves, what is it, a couple weeks?
Yes, 2 weeks this past Tuesday.
So are you starting to get any kind of response from the book?
We're getting some incredible feedback from the book, and seeing how people are kind of responding to it has been refreshing, and has really been very rewarding for me. And this is why. You never know really how a message will translate to the masses of people. And so to see people kind of run with this message and share their thoughts and share what they picked up from it has been really great and really rewarding. And to be honest with you, really humbling to see something go from my heart to the hands of, and it translates to their heart. So it's been great feedback so far.
So what's on your plate coming up in the near future? Any public appearances, book signings, or anything like that? Yes,
I am going to be in Atlanta tomorrow at Madu Bookstore in Green Brown Mall, starting at 2 p.m. The 21st of this month, I'll be in New York City at Logos Bookstore, which is on the Upper East Side, as well as the 22nd of this month, I'll be back home in my hometown, Raleigh, North Carolina, at Barnes & Noble. And so all of these book signings have been great. We've had an incredible turnout at all of them and have a great expectation for the rest of them as well.
So what about social media, websites where people can go to get more information about you, your church, the new book, Abandoned? Where can they go?
Absolutely. They can go to abandonedbook.com, and there you can get a free preview of the book. You can find out information about me. If you want to follow me on social media, go to Tim Timberlake on Twitter. On Facebook, it's Pastor T. Timberlake. And if you're new and savvy, tech savvy on Snapchat, it's Tim.Timberlake. And you can follow me on all of those social media platforms.
So, Tim, before we bring this to a close, do you have any final words or anything that I might, have missed that would you like to mention to our audience?
No, just I'm grateful for you and this opportunity to share this message of abandon. And I pray that the listeners grab a copy and let me know what they think about it as well, and share that message of abandonment with their friends and their family as well.
Well, Tim, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. I want to wish you luck with the book. Nothing but good fortune moving forward in life. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for this opportunity. I am grateful, and I look forward to doing this again.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.